Good Saturday afternoon to you, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights. The GHOST 16 data I'm going to show you is very preliminary, and all users bear responsibility for inspecting the data prior to use in the manner in which the data is utilized. Just for kicks, though, it's worthy to see the amazing resolution that we have coming to us. This is not going to be online for a little bit of time. Folks within NOAA and National Weather Service are being trained on this right now, and this will be available at some point, but take a look at that. This weather video, driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, and 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. So we currently have a very powerful nor'easter that's sitting off of just about over Labrador, actually. Some of these winds are very intense. Just to show you, forecasted trajectories or projected deepening of this area of low pressure may take it, may even get close to the record set in the Canadian Maritimes, something to continue to think about when we have a developing nor'easter. Craziness. So looking at the older GHOST 13 data, we can see some pretty strong wind gusts here in eastern Massachusetts, winds excess of, it looks like 40 to 50 miles an hour. And another area to watch is the extreme southern portion of the Green Mountains into the Berkshires here. We've seen wind gusts around Pittsfield, Massachusetts, up to around 40, 43, 44 miles per hour. So these winds have been fairly strong, but it looks like I think the worst is actually moving through Massachusetts and exiting the region currently. Very strong upper level low and a very strong surface low over portions of Labrador currently. So looking at the current European model, this is valid during the day today. Here we go, 0Z, and then a lot of the snow shower and flurry activity does exit out of the region. Skies do clear tonight. We get a little bit of an area of higher pressure, but this is what's bringing, of course, the colder air. And we have this shortwave trough that's tracking through the lower Great Lakes. It's going to phase the two troughs, different jet streams, the northern polar branch, and I think a piece of the another piece of the polar branch, maybe even the subtropical jet, is allowing for a lot of moisture. Typically, these reds here are showing thunderstorms. This is gathering here. And this is valid, looks like 1 o'clock on Monday. And Sunday and Monday are going to be very good for us here with decent project weather, both Sunday and Monday, after some pretty cold starts, of course, going back to 72 hours. You can see the progress of this area of low pressure. A lot of heavy precipitation associated with it, most of which the higher precipitable waters go a little bit offshore and kind of skip Vermont, but we still get a nice conveyor belt and a very deep area of low pressure undergoing bombogenesis all the way up the eastern seaboard. Again, this is valid now about Tuesday evening. The first snows have moved into Vermont, mostly southern Vermont, seeing the main action. But let's watch the progress here. It bombs out right there, it looks like north of Cape Cod in the Gulf of Maine. And then it takes a little bit of a curl back into interior parts of New England, and it does a little bit of a loop-de-loop while it weakens. And then the actual area of low pressure is sort of doing loop-de-loops as it heads into the Canadian Maritimes. It's kind of a strange pattern, and so forth. 06Z GFS ensemble. Let's compare notes here with what occurred with the 0Z run. A little healthier amount of precip, so the GFS has been kind of a little bit erratic as well, but not bad. Timing looks real good. And again, this would be Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night and Wednesday, tapering off Thursday morning. It looks like we see ranges anywhere from 0.3 of an inch to the maximum 1.55 or so, with a significant snowfall, and most of these probably are going to end up close to 0.8 of an inch according to the European currently. Good folks at the Weather Prediction Center indicating about 1 inch amounts and more as you head further south and east. This is where the higher precipitable water will be working its way north. And further north you go, the drier it gets, but not necessarily in terms of snowfall. It looks like we're going to see a pretty healthy snowfall here right up to the Vermont-Quebec Canadian border, maybe even further north. and sliding eastward into New Hampshire, Maine. And looking at the temperature scales here, we kind of see a moderation in temperature that just continues. And this is the period in time where we're looking at the heavier snowfall. So that's a cold northern fringe to the snow. That's all good for the utilities. That means basically a dry powder, plus all the identification looking at the snow to liquid ratios compare. With the yin and yang to Mother Nature, there's a lot of corrections, if you will. We're trying to find equilibrium. So the west is warmed up, east is cold. Here we go, 12 to 15 degrees below normal in temperature, even some minus 18s. What about 3 days later? A little bit of a warm-up, just 9 degrees below normal at that point in time. And this warm-up in the west does try to make a run at us, and it does moderate our temperature out over time here. And some of this is actually going to go over the top of a ridge. It looks like it does reach the northeast roughly around the 17th, 18th, 19th of March. A little better for sugaring at that point in time. And in terms for snowstorms in the northeast, this is the Madden-Julian oscillation, and typically you want phase 8 and phase 1. This is just completely wrong. That's the GFS. This is the European. And here we are on the 10th, 11th of March. Not showing a huge amount of strength to this pattern here. It's just wrong. And the Europeans look at the Arctic oscillation in very strong positive phase. Wrong. That was a 0Z. Here's the 12Z from yesterday. North Atlantic oscillation. Position maybe something keying there around the 15th, 16th, but that's kind of wrong as well. Just a lot of teleconnections that are just totally opposite for a giant snowfall. Now the only thing to add to that is the fact that it's the changes that occur between negative and positive phases. And large changes have a tendency to have bookend kind of storms, and this could be one of those. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.